Hi everyone. Today we are going to talk about 2.1 inverse function of linear function. So our objective is you are going to find the inverse function of linear functions. Before we start the lesson, let's go over the do now. Find the zeros of this function y equal to 6x minus 20. Can you do it now? I'll give you about 1 minute will be good enough, right? Please try. Okay, let's go over together. What's the first step to do to find the zeros? Yes, we set y equal to 0, right? 0 is a y value 0. It means we find out x values when y equal to 0. In other words, we are finding the root or solutions or zeros. They are all the same things. So now to solve for x, what should you do? You move 20 to the other side by inverse operation. It's a minus, then you add 20. Now what should you do? Yes, you divide by 6 both sides, right? You divide by 6. And don't leave the answer like this. If you can simplify, you are supposed to simplify. So it's gonna be 10 over 3. Does everybody understand? Now let's move on to our lesson. What is inverse function? Inverse function is the function which we get by reflecting the original function. Here is the original function f of x, let's say. We reflect this function over which line? Y equals x line. Y equals x line is this line which passed through the origin about 45-degree direction, right? This is y equals x line. On this line, always, any point you pick, y and x value is the same. If you reflect this function, you will get the image over here like this. That we call inverse function. So can you see f inverse of x? So -1 is in the exponent part, right? That we call inverse function. Inverse function of f of x, we say f inverse of x. So inverse function is a reflection over the y equals x line. The easiest way you get is x and y switch. You switch what? X and y. Look at here. If you look at this line became the red line. Y value 4 become x value 4, right? Here y value was, x value was 0, but here y value 0. Do you see the pattern? So x and y switch. That way you get the inverse function. So this is a quadratic function. If you reflect, you'll get this, which is a radical function. Later we are going to learn, not yet, so don't worry. So what is the meaning of inverse function is, we already know that the function is like this first machine. You put the input value here, and depending on what the function, this machine work, and give you output, which is y value, right? Y value. But now, point is we know the output. Let's say we know the output. Y value we know. Then is there any way to find out what is the input value, x value, when you know the output? Yeah, so when you know the output, you plug into the function here, which is inverse function. This will work and then give you what was the input value, which is x. That function is inverse function, all right? So let's try with the example. Let's say f of x is equal to 2x plus 3. Then what is the first step? first step is you read the f of x. I said f of x is the same with y. So we just rewrite the f of x with y equal to 2x plus 3. And then to get the inverse function, what do? We switch x and y, because inverse function is a reflection over y equals to x line, right? So y becomes x, x becomes y. And next step is you solve for y from this equation now. So what do? You are going to subtract the 3, right, to solve for y. You move 3 here, become x minus 3 because you are subtracting. So, and to solve for y, it is 2y. What should you do? You divide both sides by 2, right? 2 over 2, it becomes y. I switch the side. So it doesn't matter, you switch the side. So 2 over 2 is 1. So 1y is y, right? And then you divide x minus 3 by 2. So x minus 3 over 2 is, you can separate into the two fractions. When you have a common denominator, you can separate the numerators. Think about when you combine let's say you have these two fractions, you have a common denominator, what do? You can make it into one fraction, right? So it was x minus 3 over 2. So if you have x minus 3 divided by 2, you can separate it into two fractions like this. So x over 2 minus 3 over 2. Or you can divide it just separately. So divide everything by 2, same thing. So x over 2 minus 3 over 2. And this is the inverse function. So instead of y, how do we write down for inverse function? This y is different from this y. So to differentiate from f of x, we say inverse function is like this: f inverse of x equal to x over 2 minus 3 over 2. So now do you understand? If you understand the just a step, one more time, the simple step is rewrite instead of f of x, y. And then switch x and y. Y becomes x, x becomes y, and solve for y, following these steps. Now, you will see the error analysis. So if you see error analysis here, there's a function h of x equal to 1 over 6x minus 5. Sarah tried to solve this problem. There is maybe 1 or 2 errors. Can you identify what the errors are? So in your note, if you didn't print it out, please copy this. In your loose leaf, this red box also exactly like this. And in the right green box, please do the check mark and show all the work. Start from h of x equal to 1 over 6x minus 5. And then step by step, you write down what is the correct errors. And please write down also region. Below these boxes in your handout, in your packet, you will see what is the region, why the step was wrong. So I'll give you about 2 minutes. Can you try in 2 minutes? All right. Now you can compare with this is the answer. Can you see what was the error? The first step was okay, right? And second step, she switched to x and y. Very good. And now move the 5 to here because the minus become plus. And 1 over 6, how do you eliminate 1 over 6? 1 over 6 is like a divided by 6, same with like a divided by 6, right? To eliminate 1 over 6, we should multiply the reciprocal of 1 over 6, which is multiplied by 6. So 6 times 1 over 6 becomes 1. So you multiply 6 both sides. So 6x plus 30. All right? But what is wrong here? Oh, 5. You multiply 6 only to the x, not to the 5. That was wrong. So you understand what is wrong. And the last step, instead of y, you write down at the h inverse of x. Now, please write down what is the region. And if you see the bottom, you will see 5 assigned questions. Please solve all of them, and then you know how to turn it in. So do now, lesson note, error analysis, and assign the problems. You have 5 assigned problems. And if you go to the last slide, there is exit slips here. Please do the exit ticket and take a pictures of all of them and write down your name on every single page and turn them in the Google Classroom, please. All right. Okay, I will finish here.